G'day listeners, welcome to Bar Karate. Another week is gone. Bar Karate, the sailing podcast where we talk all things sailing and have a laugh at the same time. Joined by my good mate BP. Wake up, BP.
365, 24/7. Bar Karate bringing you news from all over the globe. I'll tell you what, it's just gone 6:30 or 7 o'clock here in Sydney. It's a bit too early for me.
Nice early morning. And Nick Bice, where are you, bud?
Bonjour or bonsoir, my friends.
Bonsoir.
And to all the listeners out there, wherever you may be, currently attending the yachting festival in Cannes on the Côte d'Azur. So the rosé has been flowing as much as the water was flowing earlier this week, actually in Spain, where I attended the Ocean Race teams meeting. And in water flowing, I refer to the recent storms, of course. Not to, of course, the swim through that obviously did happen.
Right. So we've got a lot to talk about by the sounds of it. We've got a heap to talk about. Just before we get going, though, we mentioned last week a mate of ours was competing in the the kayaking offshore world champs, the ICF offshore world champs, Sean Rice. Good news is he won the world champs, so we're pretty stoked for that, particularly you and me, Bicey.
Sean the prawn.
Sure.
Mate, I told you we should have had that started running that book.
Yeah.
We would have been all over this.
Yeah, and his brother got second too. It was a great result. Couple of great
high fives.
Yeah. Super happy.
His parents must be proud.
They must be proud. South African. Anyway. Hey, guys, obviously Bar Karate, it started out as a bit of fun for us, and we've sort of kept that. You know, it was just us having a bit of fun, getting people on that we were mates with to have a bit of fun and talk about things. And we've had an absolute cracking run of special guests, I think you'd all say.
Concur.
Yes, I would.
Yep. At some stage, it's going to have to all come crashing down. We're going to end up with a special guest that we're not happy with. But today is not that day because we've got one of the most fantastic people in the world on the line. I cannot wait to chat to this lass. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Abby Ehler to the mic. Abs, we're so happy to have you.
Jordan, I was getting a little worried with the intro there, getting ready to get my boxing gloves out, but I'm
Got to
happy
be honest.
to be
I've got to be honest. So was I.
It wasn't
in the script. I can tell you that.
It's like it's a distraction, you know, the magician, where you show one thing and do something else. That's what was going on. Oh, dear.
Vouch for that.
Abby, so I wish people could actually see this, because one of Abby's greatest skills is shutting me and Bicey down. I haven't seen her interact with BP, but shutting us down just with one look. And I wish people could see that, because she is the master of the look.
I can
the one
feel
you're getting now.
Resonating through a 13-inch screen on the MacBook here. I'm getting it.
So let's talk about young Abby. So for those who don't know Abby, she is UK-based sailor, or from the UK, Leamington, I think. Has done 3 Volvos, 2 all-female crewed one, and then the mixed crew. She started in Amos Sports as boat captain and doing bow, was on Team SCA, and then was boat captain for Brunel and raced around that. Now she's probably one of the most in-demand pro sailors in the world at the moment, zooming around doing lots of things. So you seem pretty in demand, Abby. Everywhere I look, you are. So it's good to... How did this all happen? How did you become such a superstar?
I'm definitely not a superstar, but I didn't have plans for such a busy season this year. Before you know it, one thing has led to another, and I've ended up rejoining the TP52 fleet, doing the major offshore races on a mini sort of super yacht. So that's Transatlantic earlier this year, Fastnet and Middle Sea still to come. And then throw in a bit of classic racing at Voile de Saint-Tropez to come up as a little bit of Barcelona action on the cards in a couple of weeks' time. So, yeah, loving it, loving being back sailing, and especially being in the TP52s has just been, it's been awesome.
and not to mention being a mother as well.
Yeah. Balancing family life is obviously no easy stretch, and between my husband Thomas and myself, we're sort of juggling events, juggling getting time at home. But I think it's finding that balance. I love what I do. Obviously, I love being at home with Harley, so it's a juggle, but managing it.
I think people need to understand that Abby's husband Tom is effectively a pro in the sailing world as well. Predominantly, I mainly see him marshalling and telling me off to get my VIP boats out of the way.
So that's because he can hear you speaking. Just get out of here, mate. Too noisy.
So Tom's he's marshalling. He's been doing a lot more sailing this year with the Jethu, the Maxi, and interspeeded with a bit of sail GP action. Busy.
Cool. All right, so let's get into you. Let's actually talk about some of the things that you've done. So I'm intrigued with the Volvo campaign. Which one did you enjoy the most? So your first one, the one with the SCA where you all sort of put in, like that was a fully professional, fully heavily run campaign, or the Brunel one, which was the last minute thing, and then you just were like so quick at the end, and some of the people you sailed with on that Brunel boat must have just been mind-blowing as well. Yeah,
indeed. I think the big thing amongst them all is that they were all very different for the reasons that you've pointed out. I think Amos Sport stood out because it was my first Volvo race. I think the first one you do, if that's what you want to do in life, it's that experience and doing it for the first time is such a novelty. And you come away from it, I mean, probably either loving it or hating it. And I absolutely loved it and was desperate to do the race again. So then it was a 12-year gap, a lot of change between, having finished that race to when the opportunity came again. I'd had Harley, my son. I was working shoreside. I was doing less professional on the water sailing. But you never look over an opportunity like that to be competing in the Volvo Ocean Race with an all-pro team. So, and it was fully funded, as you said. It was very different look and feel to the Amos Sports campaign. It was a no-brainer really to get back in and do that campaign. And really the 17-18 race, I think with the rule change allowing the mixed crews, that again presented the opportunity to sail with sailors like Bauer and Andrew Cape, who have done this race multiple times. And so to jump on the bandwagon with them and sail in a race that you love, but to do it with experience, that had been something that had been missing out of the formula before. So to have that was just a completely different feel on board and very enjoyable.
Yeah, right. And just look, personally, I absolutely love sailing with females on board. It changes the sort of dynamics, if you like, quite a bit. But as an advocate of female sailing, do you see the bigger opportunities coming for more all-female crews in bigger races and bigger events? Obviously, you're promoting that very hard at the moment.
I think it's in terms of all female crews, I mean, I don't know if that is the answer. And I think the sailing with mixed crews is definitely you getting the best out of both worlds. And I think, if you look at any of the business models or, in the commercial world, they're certainly promoting diversity in not just gender, but, in race in many areas. And to be able to get the best sort of makeup in a team that you possibly can. I think we're also seeing a big change with the younger generation coming up. There seems to be less of a gap between sort of the opportunities available to men and women. And that was obvious from the Turn the Tide campaign, which was obviously very youth dominant. But you weren't aware of, they all started on a level playing field, and I think we're seeing that change in a good way, and it will probably be another few years at least before we start to see the collateral of really top female sailors growing to a level where there's a pool big enough that you can pick from that talent to the skill set that you need and the character that you need to fill a role on board. So I think we're moving in the right direction. It's just it's taking time.
And Abby, given the Magenta Project, which is up and running now in full steam, and prior to the show, you just mentioned that you've been coaching a lot of young girls leaning into it. That's obviously part of the journey, and I guess you're seeing a lot of talent out there, and hopefully we can all see it coming up.
Yeah, definitely. So the project was something that obviously was set up on the back of the Team SCA campaign. Really felt that we had to do something with the momentum that was generated from that campaign and keep the ball rolling. It would just be sort of criminal just to let it drop there and not keep that ball rolling. So the project was really started to try and feed more female athletes into the professional end of the sport. It's obviously it takes time. You've got to just building up enough of a network globally to be able to do this on a scale that we would like to is challenging, but we're just chipping away slowly by hosting events such as the one we did today in Northern Ireland and across the RWA affiliated clubs in the UK. It's something we've been doing this year. We've also set about a mentoring scheme where we're pairing young up and coming athletes with professionals in the sport, male and female, just to really try and, help them on that pathway. And one of the biggest questions, Spicy, is, how do I get to the Volvo Ocean Race? And it's really hard to answer that question for the next race because I don't feel like there's a lot coming out of the Ocean Race in terms of information. So what would be your advice?
Very good question. And it was the exact question that was asked during this week, during the team's meeting, of which we can delve into a little later. But it is about inclusion. That is certainly right, and what you refer to. And I think everyone who has been on that journey with SCA and the Magenta Project, they're fully behind it, 100% of. But you are right. More answers need to come out of the Ocean Race. Hopefully, I'd like to think they're going to be coming out soon. Now, talking about the mentoring project, you sailed across the Atlantic on Aegea, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I not actually on the transatlantic, but I took her on the Fastnet race. So yeah, my mentee was a girl called Annika. She originates from Germany. She's studying fluid aerodynamics or something that I really don't quite understand.
Yes.
She could talk to Hoskins about the Keely-Forley thing.
She would probably be all over that.
I'd like to and have a long chat to her about some aero stuff. That'd be cool.
So yeah, I dragged her along on the Fastnet. She had an absolute ball because I actually dragged Dee Kafari along for the race as well. We were one short, and so Dee came along. So she was living the dream. All her idols were there. And then I dragged her along to Sail GP, and she became my little shadow for the week at Sail GP. Yep. So, yeah, but I think to all of those girls that have been involved in the project, it's the mentoring scheme. It's really helped them just to set goals, to build their network, to build, confidence and skill sets and so forth.
Yeah, just on that point, you mentioned, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you? I mean, obviously the worldwide sailing scene is big. I mean, do you just take emails? Do you take phone calls? How do you find these people, these girls?
Most of it really is done through social media. just through our Facebook and social media sites, and then we try to drive any of that interest through then to our website where there's a lot more information available. But I think, to be honest, a lot of the mentees from last year's program have really spread the word for us. I mean, we've ended up with a lot of friends of friends of people from the last year's program that are joining us for this year's program. And then really we've gone out on a bit of a headhunt, if you like, for mentors, people that we know within our network, a lot of the Volvo girls from the SCA campaign and from the previous Volvo Ocean Race, and a number of other professionals who are working in the industry. So it really has got some broad stretch. And as you said, we covered New Zealand, Australia, right through Europe and across to the US. It has been a real global program, which is fab.
Awesome. So there you go, listeners. So that's how, if you want to chase your dream, you just send Abby Ehler a message on our Facebook site. Inundated with Facebook messages now.
Well, actually, if people want to follow Abby, you actually do a little bit of broadcasting yourself, don't you? Where can people hear you?
Well, I do a podcast for the Magenta site, but also it's a collaboration with WISP, which is a women's international sports network, which is based out of the US. So you can search WISP, WISP, and they run podcasts across all sports, but specializing in women's sports. So sailing just makes up a tiny aspect of what they cover. But we tried to pick on special guests, but unfortunately, Jordan, I won't be able to invite you onto my show because we're a woman-only show. But
cue the jokes.
Yeah.
Oh, I could go on if you want.
Yeah, here we go, Bicey. Come on.
I'm sorry.
Looks good in a wig.
Just for you guys and for the listeners, Abby and I have been lucky enough to work together on not only the Amos Sports campaign initially, but also Abby pretty much single-handedly project managed the build of AXA Nobel on behalf of the boatyard prior to the last edition of the race. I've been lucky enough to do that. But one question I have, Abby, and we're going to get away from kind of the serious stuff here. When I first joined the Volvo Ocean Race, everyone used to say to me how good the race used to be from a party point of view. So, started in the 01 edition. You had a 12-year absence. Do you believe that's true? Or we still kind of party the same as we used to?
No, I would definitely have to agree that there has been a slight drying up of partiness. I do remember the stops being a lot longer back then. I remember stopping in Auckland for about 3 weeks and having, a full week of 10 days of full holiday where you didn't go to the boat. And I think that's definitely changed. So the stops are a lot shorter now in the races. But yeah, I definitely, I can remember some very raucous times involving swimming pools and dress suits on prize giving night. I think I can remember in Kiel, actually, it was the final party, and we'd had to endure with both the men's aim of sports and the women's aim of sports. We had these horrendous Ferragamo suits, and we had these lemon-coloured trousers, which I'm sure you'll remember, Bicey. And yeah, needless to say, these Ferragamo suits were in shreds by the end of the evening. We looked more like pirates. And after swimming in the pool, the yellow-coloured pants were a little see-through. So, it was fun times.
We could
and you're right, based on current, certainly the last two editions of the race, the longest stopover would have been, you'd be lucky to be 14 or 15 days. And given that the back end of the stopovers now are full of Pro-Am racing, import racing, it's pretty tough on the yachties. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was obviously trying to shorten down the stops to keep budgets down. But I think, as general, the sport is definitely it's more professional as a whole. And I think whether that's because the boats have just become more technical, more fitness required, or just the level of professionalism as a whole seems to have definitely stepped up. So I would say in general that the level of drinking is probably declined.
I wonder why Bicey's asking these questions.
Good on you, mate.
That being said, of course, we could always, I probably should mention it, we could always ask Capey about his experiences in a certain American town on the last edition. Man, that was bad. Anyway, we love you, Capey, and we know it wasn't you. Right. Actually, let's get a little bit interesting. So, Abs, you were on board the Brunel, and for those who do love the Volvo, that run on the way to from Newport, I wonder why you were going so fast on the way out of Newport. That run out of Newport to Cardiff, you remember that 24-hour run? How was that? Because I used a lot of some raw footage off the Brunel, just showing what it was like on board, just when I do some of my talks. And it's just insane. The whole audience just sits there with their jaws hanging down. It's just, you're getting hosed. Just talk about something.
Yeah, I think for me that seeing that footage from the drone when we were down south with Brunel, and I think we've got 2 or 3 reefs in the main, but we're still flying the fro. I had a lot of questions about, surely you'd be furling the fro before you put 3 reefs in, and you're like, well, no, you just physically can't furl in those conditions. It's just you're going to flog the shit out of the sail if you try and furl it in 30 knots, and it's basically you just got to see those squalls through, and putting a reef in that case was the best option for saving sails and just hang on for grim death. But I think Bauer said in one of his interviews that it was just on every leg, it was relentless, the amount of breeze that we had and just the speed of the boat. I think in previous races, and especially in the south, you kind of gone from one system to another, but you'd fallen off one system and then had perhaps 2 days of respite before you'd pick up the next system. But it just felt like we were on a sleigh ride riding that system for the whole Southern Ocean. And I think some of the average speeds for that last race were pretty insane. So yeah.
I think the Southern Ocean actually for Brunel was 19.98 knots from the start of the leg to Cape Horn. So that is phenomenal.
It's phenomenal over the time of days. Yeah. I think that's the thing, when you're just going at that speed for the best part of 10 days, maybe more. It's the noise, it's the constant acceleration, which when you're down below is just brutal. Trying to sleep, and it's just that effect or that toll that it takes on you. It must be insane on some of those trimarans, which are probably make 19 knots look like you're standing still.
in saying that, what's your desire to jump on one of the Omoka boats?
Short answer, no.
Really? You're perfect for it, Ab. I thought you'd be the first person to get a call up because you're absolutely perfect. You're not that tall. You're fantastic. There's no room down.
Are you trying to put yourself out of a job, Jordan?
Well, I'm never going to get a call up. I'm too good.
Yeah, I think I definitely think with the IMOCAs that it's you've got to have done that sort of sailing. It's very performance orientated. You're going to have to be a driver to be on that race. And I think it's just I've never foiled, so it's just not really. It's not my bag, maybe. It's just more of a mechanical sailor, rather than a performance. You look at 5 crew. One of them is probably a nav, so there's 2 on watch, and you're just going to have to be rotating driving. So it's going to be a driver trimmers race.
It's probably a very good point. Do you think that after all the work that you guys have done, particularly promoting females in the sport, do you think that the next edition sort of makes that a bit harder? What's your thoughts there? Because as you said just then, dropping down crew, the boats are going to be very demanding, obviously, to be driving the boats. Does that change a perspective, if you like, or a push?
Yeah, I think yes and no. I mean, if for any sailor, male or female, it's a very I think it's a very different sailing to what we've been used to, say, on the 65s or maybe even the 70s. It's it kind of but I'm looking at Charlie and Mark, for example, who are stepping into that and really embracing taking on the whole IMOCA. So we are going to see some sort of transfer of skills, if you like, from going from traditional monohull sailing across to those semi-foiling boats. But I guess in terms of female sailors, it's really the target market is perhaps those that are coming out of the Figaro, the Figaro 3s, the IMOCAs, any of those girls who are sailing in the IMOCAs currently. I think there's definitely, they're going to be in the niche target market.
Very much so.
Yeah. And yeah, for those that have done their first Volvo race last time round, they're probably going to be really keen to go again on the 65s. But even that rule, it's going to exclude a lot of those who were under 30 in that last race will not be able to do this race as an under 30. So then they fall into those experienced category, which again I think is quite limiting. If one of those 4 people that you want to take as your experienced people who's only got 1 race under their belt, I think, and from personal opinion, I think you'd be taking people that have perhaps got 2 or more races to really try and make up for the inexperienced people that you're taking, the younger people.
What are you trying to say, Abby? Or 3 for that matter? You keen to go again?
Or 3. No, that doesn't change the answer, Basie. No,
so are you managing a team, mate? Are you trying to get her in?
Well, I know who I'd be employing if I had a team.
Yeah,
put it that way.
Sure. What if we had a boat, Abs? What if we were sitting on a boat, the Barkarati boat, the Ginga Challenge? Would you go Ginga?
Would you be prepared
to change your hair colour? If you haven't heard, Abs, we're pitching this idea. We reckon that you can crowdfund an entry into the race, right? And so we've sought out a group that have been left out, let us say, haven't had all the options that others have had. And so we think the red-headed challenge, the Ginga Challenge, people that are born with red hair could crowd. The Gingas will fund other Gingas
Abby,
to do the same.
Stick with me on this. It's going to be.
I was going to say,
Bashi,
is that I didn't realise you were in that group.
No. I'm not. Put it this way: BP and Jordan are behind this, and if it gets off the ground, maybe. But I don't want to be on board because there'll be more punch-ups and a night in Bundaberg drinking rum.
So who's on your team, Jordan?
Slingsby. He's
they don't know yet.
Yeah. Prince Harry's the patron. Spiddle's on there.
Spiddle, exactly. Yeah.
Sammy Newton might cross the line.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Langford's
looking good, actually.
Langford's trying to deny that he's got any form of ginger in him. He reckons he's all blonde. So we're just checking whether you're willing to sell your soul.
No.
Oh, geez, tough to say.
Jesus, it's always the same answer.
That's the second. That's the second avenue. That's the second avenue closed down. What are we going to do now?
Oh, we could talk lots of other things.
I just gave you the look.
Oh, those days. They were my happiest days, Ab, sitting next to you in that little desk.
Now, talking of HR and all those naughty things that happened back then, Clara Callington, HR manager.
Yeah.
Clipper.
Join the Clipper race.
We're actually not far away from chatting about that. So maybe.
Are we not? Okay, right.
Yeah.
I'll wind my neck in.
I sent you the damn run sheet, woman. What are you doing?
Oh, sorry. I must have skipped a bit there.
All right.
Efficiency.
Well, do we want to go on to discussion points, seeing Abby's sort of driving us down that pathway? You know, she's taking charge.
Actually, I've got one more question.
Yeah.
Which is a bit more, I guess, related to your journey through the ranks, Abby. So you've spent, well, since we've known each other, probably 20 years or so, in a boat captain role of one sense or another. And just how did that actually come across? Because you must have been quite a pioneer from a female point of view to take on that role 20 years ago for that. So
yeah, I think it was a little bit unplanned. I mean, I'd sailed a lot through school, through uni, really loved doing the keelboat side of things. And I got to the end of uni, wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And I got offered a role working for a Sydney 46, which was basically doing the racing circuit between the US and Australia. And I jumped at the chance to go and work on that as an assistant boat captain, working for a guy called Led Pritchard, a British guy. And old Led, yeah. And I learnt everything there is to know, I guess, from the master who was back then. From Led, yeah.
Wow.
About, you know, everything there is to know about boat captaining, how to ship a boat from A to B and all that good stuff. And I think that just led from one thing to another. And pretty soon I'd landed that role with Amos Sports as the boat captain for that boat. But really, I spent, I don't know, the best part of 2 to 3 years working under the auspices of Led, learning everything there was to know and loved it, just really loved it. So I think one thing led to another. And I finished Volvo. I was working a little bit under Ed Danby at the GBR Challenge for the America's Cup. And so I was really learning from some good guys, the likes of Ed and Paul Stanbridge, really sort of top guys in their own right. And lucky enough then to land a job running a race boat at Rycle Pew 76 back in 2003. And then when I went on to run a 2P after that. So I don't know, I think I just, I think with any role within the sailing industry, it's really about A, knowing the people, B, having the right sort of attitude, character that people can, they want that sort of person to be part of a team. And so I guess a bit of luck, being in the right place at the right time, and just having a good work ethic towards that role.
Yeah, you were born. You were born for it. Born for it.
And but based on that, ambitions for the future in regards to running a team right from the top.
Yeah, I don't not seeing myself as taking that on. I'm not one of those natural leaders.
Well,
if you're not, pretty much everyone else is. So
yeah, it sounded like you're looking for a job, Bicey, but no, Abby's not giving out jobs by the sounds of it.
No, I'm pretty happy just tickling along. I just loving what I'm doing. I'm working a lot with Sail GP and being involved shoreside with that, which I'm really enjoying. And I think in terms of the ocean race, anyway, I feel like I've really enjoyed that last race. I mean, you're not going to get a better finish and sail with a better team than that. And I almost feel like I don't want to go there again and spoil what was really good about that race.
So
never say never, no. Abby. You know that.
Yeah, I said that last time.
We
exactly.
But my husband's listening, so I've got to say.
G'day, Tom.
No, it's.
you just mentioned Sail GP. What's your role with those guys?
So I work for Liveline, which is the area that works the graphics for the live TV. So yeah, all of the tracking of the assets on the water, which then enables you to draw effectively onto the live broadcast. So we do all those zones, the boundaries, ladder lines, flags, just to try and make sailing a little more understandable for those people who don't quite understand the sport.
Which is a really good point, because last week we mentioned that it's a really exciting era of sailing, not only with the on-water technology, but the off-water technology for things like like you say, the tracking and all that sort of stuff. It makes it a bit more accessible to the non-sailor. We are seeing so much more fantastic footage, so much more fantastic information, and it's a very exciting time on that side of it, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's just so much technology on board the SailGP boats in particular. So it's being sort of taking that information, making it into a story, or making it into data which is understandable but really interesting for sailors and for non-sailors alike. And I guess it's trying to mirror how Formula One comes across on TV, being able to understand the stories that are not just about who's winning the race, but, there's always a story about tyres or about other rules that have come into play and how you use them to your advantage. So it really is, with these boats being so technical, so performance orientated, it's really taking that back to the masses and trying to make a story of it and make it far more interesting than just watching boats going in completely different directions.
I can tell you it's working, and I'm sure there are many, many more people getting interested in sailing than there has been in the past, and I think it's a really exciting time. So well done to you and your team.
Thank you.
So what's the program now? You're on your way to Marseille for the last event?
Exactly. Yeah. Marseille for the last event. Winner takes all.
$1 million.
Yeah. Amazing.
Cool. It's anyone got willing to make a bet?
$1 million?
Yeah, it's easy. Let's roll into discussion points, because I think we can actually get more in depth on that. So just I think we'll all just join in. We'll keep Abby on board because we love her. So well, let's roll into.
You just got the look again.
No. We got a special friendship. We're good. All right. All right, so the first discussion point, we'll get on to Sail GP in a minute. We've seen the second America's Cup boat launch since our last episode, which was American Magic. We saw the shape of it. We've got the pictures up on the website, and we've got some video. Righto, what is going on? Who wants to take this one?
Yeah, look, I would actually like to start, if you don't mind, boys and girls. I see a complete different approach to both these teams. No doubt they are probably the big players at the moment. We've seen a lot of footage of American Magic over the last year and a half of them on the water. And on the other side of it, we've had the New Zealand attitude of doing it all in-house in a simulator. So we get these two programs, and we've got one team with no practical experience, then we've got a team with massive amount of practical experience. And I just think we're seeing the dividends there at the moment. Obviously, the American Magic has had a lot more of the practical solutions being solved. I don't know whether that's true or not, and we'll see it over the coming weeks as New Zealand get themselves into a get themselves sailing. But it's been a cracking week, hasn't it, with the two different boats and the two different attitudes and the two different mentalities.
Absolutely has been a cracking week. Abby, have you seen much?
No, to be honest, I've just seen some still images of the of both teams. I mean, it's phenomenal just to see how that concept is even gonna work. And I think that the buzz that it's created amongst the sailing world has just been amazing. So can't wait to see how it all goes out. And I think as Nick was saying with you guys last week or the week before, it's until they really start sailing that even the team, they have no perception of how they're actually going to maneuver these boats, especially in such a pre-start sequence and so forth. So it's going to be really interesting to see how these things perform.
It is. So I think BP is onto something with what he said just then with the practical experience, because when you actually, we've got some footage up on the Barcarati site where you can see American Magic sailing, and also some front-on shots of their boat. When it sails, she's rock solid, super stable, just charging along. Looks amazing. And then it tried to go into a jibe and she touched down, just splop. It's like watching a whale fall into the water at the moment. It didn't, no, not even close to falling out of that jibe.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that sort of stuff is directly related to the upscaling, the weights, the whole thing. Is obviously there's a bunch of data that they've correlated from the smaller boat, but at this stage we're a week in and they're still going through that phase. But I think they're well on their way to nail it. And I think that one of the big things that I think we're going to be talking about over the next couple of weeks is the aero side of things. I think there's a lot of room for a lot of things that people are going to find out pretty quickly in the next few weeks.
Yeah, you're spot on. So I will say that touchdown on the jibe could have been them doing it on purpose, I reckon. Just having a look, they might have just wanted to get rid of all the camera boats. If you look at the American boat, Buddy Melge has obviously had as much influence on that design as he possibly could. It looks like a scow, as much as they can make it, because there is restrictions. There are restrictions on how wide the bow can be, but they've made it as wide as possible. But here's a question. Are they using the ground effect? So they've made it wide to generate ground effect. So, they get a high pressure on the water, is what I'm wondering. Has anyone thought of that one?
I think to have the view that you are going to touch down in a race, you're going to lose the race.
Yep.
You've got to be flying the whole course. 100%. The minute you touch down, you're out.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement with that, and I think that's where they're going at the moment. I mean, I touched back onto the aero side of things. I think that the next part of this evolution, if you like, is the people that get to the management of the sails, and particularly the soft wing. They're the ones that are going to win out, and as we all know, there's a fair bit of information available, and I'm really looking forward to that discussion.
Yeah, well, it's a good time, isn't it? It's a good thing to be watching. This is cool. It's new. It's exciting. I can't wait. Abby sort of touched on the fact that, how they're going to go with their manoeuvres on the start. That's one thing I'm really, really interested in. I really want to see exactly that. So I'm quite interested. Yep, excited.
I've actually got my theory on that. We saw the Team New Zealand boat getting towed with both foils down doing, let's call it the Dolphin, because I can't pronounce the name of the boat.
Yeah.
Doing the Dolphin.
Which in reality, that is never going to happen. You're never going to sail the boat with both foils down at that sort of speed. So my theory is that was a structural test. It had nothing to do with how the boat's going to sail.
Yep.
But regardless of that, it's a pretty good stunt out the front of everyone watching from the Viaduct Harbour.
Yep.
And if Doltz is behind something like this, he is going to be just making people guess what on earth is going on.
Of course, there's a lot of that going on. We know that. It doesn't matter what cup you're talking about. That's been going on for years. So it's just all part of it, isn't it?
It's great. We love it. Best thing in the world. All right, Abby, young lady. It was a rumour you were in Sydney this week, but I'm not sure that that's true. But I'm pretty certain Tom was in Sydney this week. Is that correct? Were you both in Sydney this week?
No.
No. Tom was there?
No.
Okay, someone's
No. My Tom, you mean?
Your Tom?
No. My Tom was slumming it in Porticcio.
Okay. Well, somebody was feeding me lies then because, well, maybe you can answer this bit. The Australian Sail GP team has been in Sydney training on the M32s. Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that was a bit of team bonding going on before heading up to Marseille.
Wow. I've heard it was a full match racing exercise.
What do you think, getting a bit of practice in?
Well, let's look at the scores because we go to Marseille. Australia has 169 points. Japan has 165. The next team is the United States at 123. Basically, if you go right through all the scoring on each edition, there's no way that any of those teams from third down to sixth are going to make up that gap. Therefore, it's a match race. It's absolutely a match race. So what inside story have you got for us, Abs? You're working for Sail GP. Your husband's doing a bit of work for Sail GP.
Yeah. I'm not going to be able to pass you any inside info on the scoring side, but let's just say that Marseille could put a spanner in the works weather-wise, I reckon. You know, we're having to plan contingency for the old Mistral coming through, or equally having no wind at all. So this time
of year is pretty fickle.
Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of planning for worst case scenarios, which will definitely change the look and feel of it in terms of the old $1 million prize and how it pans out in terms of what days we can actually get racing in on. So let's wait and see.
I can say that I was at the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia all week, hanging out with my ex, as we all know is the story at the moment. So I can actually answer a few questions if you want to ask, Jordan.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, Bicey, did you have one before I asked the questions?
No, I was just going to comment and say, based on what everyone was forced to sail in during cows, a Mistral's going to do nothing. Sailing. TV's TV. And filming.
Get them on. Get out there.
I'm disappointed in Abby not giving us any secrets. What secrets have you got, BP?
Oh, look, I was just down there minding my own business, putting my little boat back together and getting her ready for a launch. As we know, she's got the aero package that is quite common, or could be going to become quite common. I was just playing around there, minding my own business, and there was a few boys floating around. I've got to tell you the truth. There was definitely some Australian T-shirts, and I did see a USA or two T-shirts.
Oh, okay. Maybe they just swapped
That's the
T-shirts. Okay. So what, you reckon they've roped them into it's going to be team sailing?
I don't know, and I'm not getting involved. I'm just telling you that. But this is what this show's about, isn't it? Talking about sailing.
That's what we're doing. For $1 million, and we know Americans will do anything for money.
Even $500,000, eh?
Hey, $1 million. Hey, actually, on that, all been sailing as team. How far does that money get split? Does it just get split to the sailors, or does it get split to the shore crew? How far has that $1 million got to go?
It's going to be split between Tom and Nathan. They've already made a deal. They made the deal before the regatta even started.
Yeah, Lake Macquarie boys, that's it. That's it.
The yacht club's about to get an upgrade.
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, I was there yesterday when it all finished up, and at the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia, and it did create a massive amount of excitement. The boys were there in all their, the gear, and they come off the water on the M32s, which did come off a little bit worse for wear, I got to say. There was a little bit of a bingle, but hey, that's what it's about. And they came off the water, and it was very exciting at the club to see the guys. They were mingling in the bar as per usual, hanging out, and it was good.
Well, so we are going into Marseille. It's the 20th to the 23rd. So it's the final event, as has been discussed. There's $1 million prize money, US dollars prize money to go around. it really is either Australia or Japan are the two teams with the chance of winning. The other teams are there to try and do the best results, try and promote themselves for next year, help with the sponsors and so forth. It's going to be a great event. It's been unreal so far. Who's going to win? Bicey's alluded to it. Who's going to win? Is it Australia 1 or Australia 2?
I'm going to put my money on Tomsby and the Aussies.
Yep. So Tom Slingsby
It's a pretty safe bet, isn't it, really?
These two, so if you look at the two skippers Abs, if you look at the two skippers on the base, so Outridge and Slingsby, I think they're both Wanji boys from that side of the lake. So they would have raced each other their whole lives.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of history and something that SailGP has picked up on their storytelling side is the friendly banter and the friendly camaraderie and competition that goes on. But I don't know, to begin with, I was thinking that Nath had the upper hand. He's definitely had the most experience in these boats and had a lot to do with the technology side of the design going into the one design, post Bermuda.
Yeah.
I don't know. They had a bit of a wobble in Cal, so the Aussies seem to have they're on it.
We're dropping you a little bit, Abby, just in case we're getting you to break up there a bit, so we missed that last little point. I will just say, I think what you're alluding to is Nathan has a lot of the technical skill and was driving a lot of that stuff that's gone into the one design side of the boats, and then cows that didn't go quite as well. But you never know. He's a super talented sailor, very, very fast, and a great team. Very relaxed on his team as well, with his best mate there, a few of his best mates sailing on. So it'll be very interesting. So, yeah. Who knows? It's exciting. What's the biggest prize money? $1 million. What's the biggest prize money you guys have won in your racing careers? Abby?
Bottle of wine.
Oh,
Yeah, I was going to say I don't think $0 is probably got some glassware.
To drink the wine with.
Silverware, definitely.
You've won the odd globe, Abby, for around the world.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, that's a good question.
I had a regatta once. I was just going to say.
Sorry, it is actually a question I get asked quite a lot when I tell people that I'm in the yachting industry, whether it's whether you call it pro sailing or whether you call it in the industry itself, and people outside the industry say, so do the owners get prize money? Does it, and no, it's all about the honour. It's all about just saying you won it.
I was just going to say I did a regatta once many years ago where it was down south in Western Australia, and they'd put a lot of work into making these beautiful clocks and happened to have a pretty good regatta, so I went home with a lot of clocks. It was an exciting day. It was very timely.
Is that what's in the back?
Oh,
is that what's in the background?
Very timely.
All the clocks.
Awesome.
That's it. All right, let's move on. So, Bicey, you were at the Ocean Race teams meeting. So just to clarify for people who don't know, if you want to be interested in the race, you had to register. So it's $5,000 you had to pay in. So you just couldn't walk in. You had to actually pay a registration to be there. And then the race actually talked about a few key elements of the next Ocean Race. You were there talking on behalf of the boatyard, I guess, Bicey. What happened? Any news?
And Barkarati or?
Yeah, good point.
Well, I must admit, the big talk before we walked in on the first morning was bar karate. And
Really?
everyone was chatting about it. So they were expecting a full report, which is about to kick off right now. So, no, I better not. In saying that, it was a full house. I can tell you that. 8 65 teams were there, one of which is led by the man with the best hair in yachting, Paolo Mirapuri. He had a big presence and they are thinking about the future. So they had technical side, commercial side, communication side. So they were strong. They had a big presence. And all the 65s are now sold with the ambition that they will be doing the next ocean race. So potentially we're going to see those 8 boats on the start line.
So
there were also
Abby will
5
be going
to 6 IMOCA teams, of which we can safely say one of is Mark and Charlie.
Yep.
With 11th Hour, who we've just recently seen merge, during this week become public, merge with Merconcept, which is Francois Gabar's setup in France there. So whilst, as Abby alluded to earlier, it's 2 guys coming out of a complete different world of what IMOCA generally creates, but they're actually adapting what is successful, and that is campaigns that Francois Gabar and his team have put together in the past. And that team is led on the shore side from Ben Wright, who's been behind many a winning team in the Volvo Ocean Race previously, Bill Erkland, who's been part of Mark and Charlie's campaign in previous times. So I've got to say that they could be pretty strong with what they're trying to do there. And finally, huge sustainability push will be part of the race. It was introduced during the last edition of the race, especially with the turn the tide on plastics and the relationship with an 11th Hour going forward, which now has a relationship with many regattas, including the TP52s and various others. But it's almost, I'm not sure how to say it, but there's this a term put across that you have to use the sustainability push in the right way and not just use it as a tokenism, and you actually have to do something. And I think the UN have put out 14 or 16 different initiatives, and the biggest one that the Ocean Race want to concentrate on is obviously ocean health, which I guess is pretty close to all of our hearts. So they were the main takeaways, and I'm not in a position to divulge exactly who was there, but I can say it was a full house.
I'm just on that sustainability piece. The 11th Hour, they're not doing it for show, mate. They are absolutely trying to change the world. The things that they're doing behind the scenes are incredible. Some of the things that they've funded, the way they're trying to change industry, trying to educate people, they're doing it for real. So lucky for Charlie and Mark to be tied in with them, because they are very passionate about the whole thing. So, yeah, okay, well, that's interesting. So then in your notes, though, you want me to ask you what the hardest job in the next ocean race is going to be? Is that trying to convince Abby to do it?
Yeah. I've already started my job, and that's to try and get Abby on board.
Yeah, answer still no.
Well, how about this job, Abby? Would you like to become an OBR on an IMOCA boat?
Ooh, that could be tempting.
Really?
Well, don't
Here we go.
don't line up straight away, because I was chatting to Brian Carlin, who did the Melitza trip, coming back when they were going for the record attempt, and he said it was absolute hell. Admittedly, he is small enough to get around on one of those boats, but to try and do the job that he has done previously in previous editions of the Volvo Ocean Race, very, very difficult on those boats, which are rattling around, banging around, jumping off waves, half falling, just dropping all over the joint. very, very difficult. So that's not a position I don't think anyone would want to be in. Not to mention coming from the mouth of Brian Carlin, who's done it in the last few editions.
Abby's communicating by her looks. She's doing a lot of looks at the moment.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, it's. I think those boats are going to be pretty hardcore. I think it was Neil MacDonald was saying, when he was sailing with Alex Thompson on Hugo Boss, you imagine those boats are traveling at sort of just under 30 knots, and it's almost, you imagine yourself on a rib that's doing 30 knots. It's you get everyone ready in the rib, and then make sure everyone's holding on, and then you put the throttle down. On these boats, you really, it's the same sort of perception where you've either got to be hanging on for dear life, or you're down below in the cubby, out of harm's way from waves, and just it's a totally different style of sailing. And with 5 people on board, it's really gonna change the style, and let alone trying to do an OBR's role. I think it's an interesting comment.
And I think Alex is a bit of an outlier here, but the boats that we're seeing coming out with the coach roofs and etc. that are going on, everyone's going to be essentially tucked out of harm's way, and they need to be, because you are doing 30 knots. And as for those classic Volvo Ocean Race shots with the bow going down, all the water rushing over, I don't think anyone's going to volunteer to poke their head out for any of that.
But Bauman's job is going to be the worst job in the world. Obviously, no one's going up front there anymore on those things, but imagine going forward of that cockpit. Not a chance. What happens if the foil comes out, though? If something gets damaged to that foil, that's got to be one. I'm still intrigued as to how they're going to sort of fix that. Obviously, they couldn't for Alex last time.
We have been thinking about that, haven't we? A lot. Our technical heads are trying to work it out. So obviously they're thinking about it, but we're trying to work it out.
Well, and the designers have been thinking about it also, because it's a big part of it. And from what we've seen and what's emerged, Alex's boat looks the narrowest. And if he loses a foil, he will suffer the greatest. The other boats that we've seen, the VPLP or Verdiers, look a little bit wider, so they still have that form stability if you do lose a foil. In saying that, you're not creating anywhere near the lift, which any other boat does with the foil. So it's the minute you lose it, for sure, you're out the back door. And it's going to happen, definitely.
100%.
Agreed, 100%. Oh, there we go. Jinx.
Oh dear. All right. Let's move on. Enough about racing in the oceans. Let's move on to the Clipper race.
Okay. So this is your 4th chance to do something else, Abby?
Yeah. You could skipper a boat in the Clipper.
That's a definite no.
Oh.
I take my hats off to those guys. I mean, to skipper a boat in that race, with at least on on a Volvo team, everyone's there because they want to make this boat go fast. They're professional sailors. I mean, on that, there's people just dealing with people's expectations. Everyone's got different ambitions. They're all probably very successful in life, in business. It just must be a mammoth task to manage those. Just all the different personalities and people's goals. Wow.
It's going to be incredible. Well, you mentioned the HR lady from the Volvo Ocean Race, Clara Carrington, has signed up, and she's going around the world. I think she's going the whole way. And Clara is one of those people that is enthusiastic about everything. She's 100% all the time enthusiastic. So I wonder if that'll ever wane as she goes into the middle of the ocean, Southern Ocean, something like that.
Yeah, well, I would have thought she'd be a great person to have on a team like that, because that's kind of her expertise is managing people.
Yeah.
And that's what those boats are all about. It's really about managing people. Yeah. So I think
Imagine managing 10 shore crew and absolutely shitting yourself at the same time. Do you think you could keep a straight face? Southern Ocean. We're not sitting on the couch on the top of the sailors' terrace.
I tell you, I was lucky enough to see it all unfold over the last sort of 6 months. Being back in Sydney, they do have the training camps down here. They've got the 2 boats, and we did have Will Parbury on, who was actually involved in instructing these guys. And they get down and they go out for the week and they go sailing, and they come in the bar at the end of the week, and as per usual, they have a couple of frothies, and it all comes out. It's the personalities. The people involved, the different levels or social levels of these people is quite astounding. And I tell you what, getting out on the water for a long period of time in conditions that are generally pushing themselves that's the big thing. How does someone respond when they're actually out there in that position and not being a professional sailor, but actually just doing it because it's a bucket list or it's a Mount Everest for them. That's the point. Like they're out there in that stuff, and that was the first thing I think about every time I look at the Clipper race.
Well, it's underway. So they're doing the Atlantic Tradewind League, which is the first leg, starting in London in the UK and heading to Punta del Este in Uruguay. Just to confuse issues, the League 1 actually has a stop near the start, and they have just stopped and are starting again today as we're recording on a Sunday. They're in Portugal, in the Algarve in Portugal at the moment, where the Punta del Este team was the first team in, so they had a little bit of a prize-giving ceremony there. So it's still this Leg 1, but with a stop in the middle of it, which is a little confusing for a young fella like myself, but I think we can work our way through it. Our good buddy Bicey, Rodrigo Rato, was the MC for the presentation. Our mate, the Rat.
The Rat, just killing it. Yes.
He's everywhere. He's Mr. Portugal, that man. We've got to love him. It's underway. So they're having their first nervous moments and sort of only really gone across the channel, Abby. That's
and the Bay of Certain Death, as they call it, down across the Bay of Biscay. They had 40 knots. And I saw a video of young Jorge Infante trimming some jamon off of the bone, giving it a bit of a Spanish touch. I think he's the first mate on one of the boats. But he was, just adding that Spanish touch, maybe trying to reclaim Portugal or something like that. But
he wasn't.
They certainly got a little touch up.
He wasn't serving the jamon on the boat, was he?
Oh, yeah, no. They had a jamon.
On the boat?
For sure. Yeah,
God,
definitely.
Well, jamon, the traditional jamon in Spain doesn't go off. It's been going off for the last 2 years.
Yeah, I know, but if somebody chucks up, that stuff sticks to everything when you chuck it up.
Oh, mate, you speaking from experience or what? We'll save that to our explicit episode.
It wasn't from sailing, is all I'll say.
It's not a good look or vision at 7:30 in the Sunday morning.
I had a birthday in Spain. Blame Fletcher Kennedy. Right. Stop looking at me like that, Abby. All right, we'll move on. So enough about going around the world. There's been a new world record set for the oldest person to sail around the world without an engine. Right.
Am I sensing a theme here? Hey, how old's John Sanders, though?
Yeah.
He's forgotten. He's
on his way again, so he'd be taking that record back, I'm sure. So this
Abby,
lady...
here's your 5th chance. Do you want to sail around the world when you're 79 years old?
Come on, say it.
No.
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 All right, got you.
No.
Okay. So the lady's name was Jean Socrates. She's 76 years of age. She's from Victoria in Canada, I reckon. So she's just sailed around the world. And, apparently it's a world record because she had the Oldest person to sail without an engine. So Sanders has obviously sailed with an engine. So I don't know. What record do you guys reckon you could win by quantifying it tightly enough, if you know what I mean?
Sailing record?
Yeah, around the world record. You just got to quantify it. So, for example, Abby would win the record if she went around for saying no the most amount of times in a loop of the planet.
I'd like to put in the notion that I would like to sail around the world with the most stops.
Oh, yeah, the longest time sailing around the world, taking the
I
most.
could potentially say the most local beers
Oh,
consumed.
That's a good one.
that's a good one.
Okay, sailing around the world with the most stops in exotic hotels. How does that one?
Don't think
All right,
Bryce will
beers
make-
and exotic hotel. All right, we'll stop there. We'll
I
stop
don't
there.
think you make it back to the hotel. Anyway, so sailing around the world, most experience. Abs, you got any you want to contribute?
No.
No.
Number 7.
You didn't do that
Who's
on
counting?
purpose, did you?
I think it was episode 1, or no, it was the pilot episode where you asked me specifically if I wanted to sail around the world. I think that that word was the answer also, wasn't it? Nope.
No.
No. All right. So much fun, so little time. Okay, our little buddy BP was wandering the docks the other day and he's found a friend. So let's just have a listen to what he's discovered.
Thanks, Jordan. So one the good thing about working at yacht clubs is you bump into a whole heap of people, and I was working away here at the Royal Sydney Yacht Squadron, minding my own business, and happened to bump into David Chapman, Chapo's commonly referred to. So he's freshly back from Europe after his tour, so I thought I'd grab him and have a chat to him about what he got up to. You may remember we had Zach Quinlan on a couple of weeks ago, and they discussed the win in the World Sailing Champions League. Sorry about that. So here we go. So he's going to explain it and go through it all. So Chapo, how are you, mate?
Yeah, really good, thanks.
Yeah, cool. So basically, the World Sailing Champion League is relatively new here in Australia. Obviously, you won the one with the event in Australia, and then went off to Switzerland to compete. So how did it all go?
Yeah, Switzerland went better than expected, to be honest. Getting Zach, Finn, and Charlotte on the boat, the younger youth, was a big help, and those guys just hike all day and just make such a big difference.
Yeah, right. And we had a little brief chat with Zach a couple of weeks ago, and he went through it. He was on by not by default, if you like. He actually was just luckily there in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, he was on tour in, I think, Budapest when I sent him the message, could he make it? And he delayed his flight by a week or so to come and help us out. And he's got a Breitling on his hand now.
Lucky boy. I wish I had one of those. Hey, so you went from that event and you did what after that? Was a fleet racing event, which sounds very interesting.
Yeah, straight after that I went to Poland to do a match racing event, and I haven't done that for 2 months, and that was a lot of fun, and I've forgotten how much I missed that format of the sport. And then from there I went to Hamburg and was about to fly home, and I got invited to do this new event which is called the Hege Hard Cup out of the NRV in Hamburg, and it's fleet racing with umpires and mix. So you have to have a girl and you have to have a boy, and it was on a laser bar here, which was a little boat, but quite easy to sail.
Run us through the format of that. So you said there were 72 entrants. I'm assuming that's from all around the globe, or was it fairly sort of local?
It was all German except for us. Maybe there was one Swiss team, and it was just really random that I was there. Really, I got my J70 crew, Julia, who lives 2 hours away, and she jumped at the opportunity to come and do it. But 72 teams and 8 boats race at once. Laser provided 24 boats, so we had 3 groups of 8. And so you do 2 races at once, then you'd come in and change over, and you have about an hour or 2 off, and then you go out and do it again. So you'd go out about 3 times a day, and I think the race committee got through 60 races all together. So it was
In a day?
No, in the whole thing.
On the whole thing.
I think they average 24 a day.
Man, 24 races a day. What a format. So you said that it was fairly local, so we're talking 72 entrants. I'm assuming there would have been a couple of internationals, but let's say there was 68 Germans and one Australian and a couple of others. How did you go in the regatta?
Yeah, we took it out, which was great.
Did you hear that, Australia? Stand up and be counted. High fives.
Yeah, no, it was really good. And there was such a mix of people there. There was a current Olympic bronze medalist from the 49er class, and he was quite handy, but he didn't make the final, and I forgot to mention that. There's a final after the qualifying series. The top 8 went straight through the final, and no points counted. So you went straight to the final, and whoever won that won the whole thing. So it was quite cutthroat. And the race they had, it was 2 up and downs, and then a long reach to the yacht club at the finish line, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, we mentioned last week on Bar Karate how cool it is, the sailing scene at the moment, and there's a lot of cool things going on with the Carp and with the, with the sailing GP, and obviously the match racing youth is where I'd like to quickly hone in on. It seems like we've got a massive amount of events globally that are really exciting, new events that the younger generation, if you like, can get involved in, and it seems to be there's a bit more direction than there used to be.
Yeah, there is. I think now we've got Mooloolaba Yacht Club and Newcastle Yacht Club have really taken it on, and Darwin as well. And the Perth guys, they've always been there, and the Tasmanians are coming back. And then with Mark Turnbull putting this National Sailing League thing on, and just this stadium racing, it's really enjoyable, and people can watch it, and anyone can get involved.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, listen, thanks for your time. Obviously, it's just a quick one. We bumped into you on the dock on the Walk the Dog segment. So thanks for catching up, and good luck with your year.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Well, there you go. Good catch, BP.
Yeah, it was. I guess we're going to get better and better at that sort of thing. But look, that fleet racing format, I really love that idea. I reckon it's a cool thing. I'd love to see that take hold.
What about you, Abby? Would you like that?
Yeah, I was going to say there's something.
Yes.
It's not about. That was a trick question. Come on.
No, come on. Answer.
I just want to know if Chapo
in the UK, there's a similar...
mentioned the war.
Let Abby speak. All right.
I was going to say something serious, but no. The British Keelboat League out of the UK, similar format where it's sailed in the RS21 boats, which boats are provided. You basically turn up with your team of about, I think you sail them with 4 up. But it's open to everyone, and it's been held at clubs throughout the UK, and it's just been really successful at kind of opening the sport up to people that perhaps don't own their own boats. And yeah, I think it's just very similar to what you mentioned there, BP. It's a different style of sailing. It's more league. You go out, do a bit of racing, come back in. I guess it's a lot more open to people because you don't have to own your boat. It seems to be like sort of revolutionising the club sailing.
Yeah, speaking to Chapo about it the other day, he really enjoyed it, and what he enjoyed about it was that just the organisation of it. I guess 72 teams is a massive amount of work, the logistics that go into that. But he really enjoyed how it all panned out, and off the water once they would finish the regatta, it was a spectacle. So I really hope that we can get more on a world scale. It could be really quite a good format, to get the non-professional people having a crack at big competitions. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it pans out.
Very cool. Very cool. And Mooloolaba Yacht Club getting a mention, which made me happy. So.
Did you coach any of them?
All of them, mate. Head coach, Mooloolaba Yacht Club. Actually, I got to say, there's a lot of, like when you see just at Mooloolaba, the work that all the volunteers down there, the people, it's a tiny yacht club, and the people putting in so much effort. I show up to coach, but there's so many other people doing so much, getting the boats ready, spending their own money and their own time, and I think we forget that. I see it at Mooloolaba directly, and just those people, like probably I don't want to name names, but those people are just putting so much in. So, all this stuff needs those people giving up their own time to do it. So good on them.
Well, I think that's pretty prominent just across sailing in general, right?
Exactly.
And volunteerism is the glue that binds society.
Oh, that needs to be on a shirt, bossy.
That could go on the next merchandise run.
The next? We haven't done one yet.
I was going to say, yeah, next. When's the next one?
Well,
We've got to do the first one first.
Well, the first couple are just self-funded, so.
Yeah. And we've been seeking approval. We're waiting for a yes from Abby before any of our merch gets approved, and we haven't had much luck.
Come on, it's
getting late.
All right,
it doesn't
we
involve
get late.
racing around the world.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Secret Pro news. Anybody got Secret Pro news?
We thought we had some Secret Pro news, but it was announced during the week that Charlie will be sailing with Pasquale Badigere in the TJV on the 11th hour.
Yeah, so we thought it was going to be Mark, but that's pretty smart, I reckon, on their part, because Pascal, he's the man, isn't he? He's very, very good, and he has an extremely high success rate sailing with people named Charlie. So,
yeah, that's good. It's good. We've got to put that on a shirt.
Yeah, I have a very successful.
Bravo, you've been waiting for that all week.
Oh dear. So he does actually. So, but he's quite the win for that team, obviously, in the TGV or TJV. So that, what do we reckon? Is that just? Do you reckon they're going to sign Pascal up into their team, or it's just a learning thing?
Hadn't really thought about it. To tell you the honest truth.
Abs, you got any thoughts? I can see you.
It's still early days. So
Yeah, I think it's a really smart move, like you said, and definitely. I mean, to me, it appears that it's just a training vehicle. Get on board someone that knows that style of racing, short-handed racing, probably knows the boats, and learn everything from what you can.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it goes, I'm trying to remember, the start's late October, isn't it? So late October, start in France down to Brazil. So it's basically a big Atlantic crossing sort of across the equator. Should be a bit of fun. Double-handed in the IMOCA class boats. There's also the 50s and the 40s going as well, from memory, with TJV. Correct. All right. Okay, we're nearly done, Abby. You nearly can go to bed. We're just about to roll in. We just a couple of quick results. We had the world champs for the Plateau 25 Worlds. They're on their last day today. I cannot find any results or any information. I don't know if anyone else has tried, but has anyone seen anything?
Negative.
Negative.
Right, the Flying 15s. Flying 15s, Abby, this is going to be in your wheelhouse. They had the world champs. We nearly missed that. Do you know any of these? So the winning boat at the Flying 15 World Championships was sailed by Graham Viles and Chris Turner on Floaty McFloatface. You got to love that bloke.
Was that related to Boaty McBoatface?
I'm thinking you're onto it. I'm thinking you're onto it. Do you know those two?
No.
Okay, second was the Fiery Chariot, which we've all had. Annie McKee and Richard Jones. Any mates there?
Nope.
And then Richard Lavering and Matt Alvarado, also from the UK.
Abby, I got a feeling you're getting set up here.
Yeah, no.
See how many no's we can have in one episode.
Do you know them, Ab?
No.
11.
All right. Okay. So that was the top three. It was the UK top three. Aussie team from Western Australia, Mike Hart and Dan McCauley got in fourth. So well done to that team. Flying 15s, boys. What do we think? I like them.
Yep.
I reckon they're cool. Used to watch them as a kid. Think, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Boss, you're not saying anything?
I'm even trying to think if I've ever ever seen them sail. Tell you the honest truth.
They sail them like a dinghy. There's a lot of stuff.
No, but I don't think I've ever seen them. I think there's one in Adelaide.
No, down at Goa, mate. There's a whole fleet of them. You got to go down. You got to drive. Take the kids down to Goa.
That's Goa, mate.
Goa.
Okay.
Well, it's like an hour's drive from your house, mate. Get that crappy car that you've got that just bought.
To go and watch the Flying 15s. Okay,
I'll never sail. Anyway, all right.
Yes.
So congratulations to them. Abby doesn't know any of you, so I'm not sure if she is from the UK. We'll have to suss that out. Poor Abby. She's having a bad time at the moment. The looks that are flying. I wish we had this videoed. All right, the Blind Fleet Racing World Champs. Congratulations.
Oh, come on, mate. This is a setup.
Hey.
No, this is genuine. So in Kingston in Canada, they just had the World Sailing Champs for the Blind Fleet Racing. And I looked this up. So my wife's an optometrist. They have two categories, B1 and B2. And so B1 is completely blind. I got the wife. I know where your mate. Let's just say congratulations to the teams. Bicey, say what you want to say unless I say it first. You've ever done any blind?
I've never won a world championship, but I've definitely been blind.
BP?
Look, I'd like to just congratulate the competitors just to keep it on a nice level here. The USA got in the V1 class to win. Actually, Kylie Forth from Australia got in second. So there you go. That's all I wanted to say about it. Well done to those guys. I'm all for it. I love it. I think it's fantastic.
Yep. Abby, you ever sailed blind?
No. No.
12,
No.
13.
This is not fair on you, Abby. It's not right. Yeah, look, I can't even.
So how do they do it?
I don't know. That's what I was just about to say.
Like tack, basically get instructed when to tack jibe, bear away.
As far as I'm aware, they have two people on the boat that are completely visually impaired. That's what the VIP side of it stands for. And there's two people on the boat that are guiding the boats. So that's how it works.
Right.
And they get around the track, and that's how they do it. The blind person obviously has to be steering and a pivotal role in trimming.
I remember. I did
Good one.
Last race of
Very
the World
good. Very
Champs
cool.
there, completely blind, in Kingston, Canada. Right, okay, around the grounds. The only thing of excitement coming up this week that I can note, there's plenty going on, but at a world sort of the highest level is Sail GP, 20th to 23rd in Marseille. Abby, any inside tips? Who's going to win? What should we look out for? Where are we going to see your work? I know you're doing all the stuff. Can you put a special Barcarati graphic on screen?
Leave that one with me.
Oh, didn't get a no.
I love it.
Didn't get a no. No, I think it's. I think the one thing that's been really good with GP is just to see those teams that are sort of the second tier teams, if you like, the French, Chinese, just getting better results as the series has gone on. And I remember thinking at the outset, this is just going to be a white, complete run of the mill for those top teams. But it's been great to see those teams coming through, and France had their best result in cows, and the Chinese are really starting to make an impact. And I think that's just, it goes to show that it's going to take a bit more time, but I think we're going to.
Oh, she's dropped out. Oh, she dropped out. She was mid-chat. Oh, we've had a... Oh, no.
She might have hit the internet limit at the hotel.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's what she's done.
Damn. That's, I've got to say, that was so much fun with Abby.
I think she was about to get to the punch and say the Aussies were going to take it out.
No, she's back. She's back. Abby, we got you? You're still there, Ab? You dropped out as you were about to say the Aussies are going to win. All right. If you can speak whenever you want, Abby, and we'll work around you. For those, as we're about to sign off, if you want to contact us via Instagram at Barkarati on the Facebook page, and of course the Barkarati website, barkarati.com. Into the quiz question. Was it the worst ever quiz question that was ever asked?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, what colour was...
pretty much.
Yeah. I'm not. It's not one of my proud moments, I'll be honest. I'll take that one. What colour is Coke before the colouring is added? It's just a clear colour. Here's the last quiz question before we do the sign-off. If you tried a new variety of apple every day, how long would it take you to try every variety in the world?
Very cool question.
Now we're talking.
Okay. If you can come up with the answer to that one, I'll be honest, the Coke question was so bad I didn't put it on the Facebook page. I couldn't be bothered. So this one is, how long would it take you to try every variety of apple if you ate one every day? That's a good one. I personally want to say thank you to Abby for putting up with all our little stirring. She is a fantastic lady, and we just want the best. Oh, she's back. Abby, we're signing off. We're signing off. So it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on board and be part of Barkarati. You're a champion. Thanks for putting up
Thank
with
you
BP.
very much for having me. Enjoyed it.
Thanks for putting up with BP and Bicey. Obviously, I was nice to you.
No.
You know that's not true, Abby. That's number 14, by the way. And yeah, really good, Abby. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to hearing your story going forward.
Yeah, we want to see everything from you, Abs.
Not everything.
Every opportunity for you. That's what we mean.
Yeah, well, I think for me it's about the next gen. I think it's just I'm really enjoying having that mentee and just showing her the ropes, and looking forward to seeing the girls of the future coming through.
Very cool.
You're here.
Excellent.
All right.
Here.
See you, team. Thanks for
Hey, boys,
everything.
girls, ladies and gentlemen. Bye-bye.
New longest edition ever.
Au revoir.
Ta-da.
Well, it's alright.